Welcome back to the Service Design Podcast. In this episode, we'll be looking back at one of our highlights of the year, the Service Design Global Conference in Madrid. Just like last year, we walked the floor and chatted to lots of designers from around the world, so listen to some of the interesting people we ran into. Also, Stina got to give a talk herself at the conference, and she talked about sneaking service design into large organizations. Of course, I'm not unbiased, but I think she really nailed it. She also talked about the parts in projects that didn't go well and things that failed. The audience really responded very well to that. You can watch Stina's talk and some of our personal favorites on servicedesignpodcast.com. We hope you all had a great year, and we look forward to a service design-filled 2018. We have a whole bunch of interviews lined up with the winners of the Service Design Awards. We have another live episode to share in which we'll talk about blockchain, and we spoke to Chris Ferguson from Bridgeable. All in all, lots to look forward to. And as always, we welcome suggestions for people you'd like to hear on the podcast. Thank you very much for listening this past year, and hope you enjoy this episode straight from the conference floor. So, we just came out of the first set of talks at the Service Design Global Conference. What do you think, Stina?
Yeah, I think already some inspiring talks. We heard Mikko from Helen from Finland, and he talked about how important service design already became in Finland, and he gave us some tips on what you can do in your own country to make it work. So I think that was very practical advice and some good insights as well.
Yes.
What was your favorite insight?
Well, I really liked the Mikko's talk as well. I mean, we've been talking off the podcast about Finland regularly. So indeed, we've had our eyes on what is it that they're doing there? Why does service design catch on so much there? One thing I was hoping to hear about maybe is the way design is affected from the top, like the Prime Minister there is really design-minded as well. I wonder if that maybe has an impact. But also I enjoyed, of course, hearing Louise Down talk about GDS, service design at gov.uk. Of course, that's always inspiring.
Yeah, I think it was great how many examples she could already show, and really not just small examples, but very big, impactful examples that are working throughout the whole government, and that is so inspiring. I think we can learn so much from them. And again, I discovered some new links of information we can find online, and how we can, in the Flemish government as well, see how we can integrate service design on a much more deeper level in the government.
Definitely. And she also took the theme of scale for this conference to a next level. What was it? She went through the numbers quite fast, but GDS itself has 500 designers working for them. She talked about something like 2,000 or 3,000 human-centered designers working for the UK government. These numbers are unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. But on the other hand, you think it's a huge investment, but you see that she also gave some other numbers, like how much they saved due to this implementation. So I think that's amazing. What I'm wondering, though, is how do you manage that in such a big organization? Like Louise explained, they're not in one department. They're spread out over the whole organization. But I'm very curious on how they manage to gather all that knowledge and make sure that even on local levels in the organization, in the government, but also on top level, they implement the same principles of service design. I think that's, something we can learn a lot from them.
Indeed, an intimidating challenge, but I think, a very inspiring one too.
Yes.
So we're going to join Chris Ferguson in a moment in his workshop, and it's really great. He made some time for an interview as well. We'll be sharing that in a separate episode, but I'm looking forward to his workshop already.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very curious what we will do in that workshop. And we will definitely share in the interview later on that we post with him what we learned in this workshop.
So, shall we go around and see who we all might run into at this conference?
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
Hey,
Hello.
can we talk to you on our
talk to you for
podcast?
a few minutes.
I thought I recognized your face. So we're here with Manuel,
Yes.
and I saw you made some great sketches already
Thank
from
you very
different
much.
talks.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for sharing them.
Okay.
Yeah, also from my presentation.
So what am I being interviewed for?
We are from the Service Design Podcast, and we are just interviewing lots of different people from the floor and hearing where everybody's from, getting a bit of an idea of the crowd here.
Okay.
Yeah, and we actually want to know what people are thinking from the conference, and we will publish it later. So maybe, do you have some things
So I have
that
to be
you
polite.
say?
Just kidding.
No, you can do. You can say whatever you want. Are there things that stood out for you? Things that you learned during this conference?
I learned a lot, so that's a hard question to answer. What stood out for me were that many details worked well. So let's talk about the positive stuff. Like small details, like that there is a power station for the phones, the fact that there were no lines for the food because it was distributed. So I think many of these details were done well. I think there's always room for improvement, of course, but that's something that stood out positively. What did I learn? I found many of the keynotes very inspiring. The ones that were more on a reflective level, more than the ones that presented case studies. For example, and I'm not saying it because you're here, but because I really liked it, your talk, you talked a lot about also what you did wrong. So I think in that sense, it was a talk from the community to the community, which I think is for me so much more valuable than saying, hey, this is this great service which we designed and it's awesome and you should all love it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Anyways, well, also something I remember is that on the first day, the Members Day, we went to this event in the evening. And as I remember well, you were doing a crazy dance there and you got like a 50 people crowd that were joining you.
Yes.
Can you explain us what happened there?
Yes, we did the diamond dance. It's a warm-up that I actually learned in a YouTube video from Adam Lawrence. And basically, it's a way that the entire crowd dances together, and it's great to create good mood, have fun together. And I use it a lot in client workshops, actually. And you can use it with very conservative people because it's a great icebreaker.
Yeah, that was a good evening, by the way. And I just realized we haven't given you a chance to introduce yourself yet to our audience. Who are you and where do you work?
Okay, I'm Manuel Grossman. I'm here with my two service design hats. The one hat is the Service Design Berlin hat, which is basically Service Design Berlin is a community based in Berlin. And it's all about knowledge exchange for the professional service design community. That's pretty much my service design hobby. And then my service design hat, what I do for a living is I am co-founder of Fuchsblau. It's a Berlin-based service design company. We help we help companies to translate user needs into business models.
Yes, and these Berlin service design drinks, how often do you organize these? And is it only in Berlin? Was this a rarity that it's in Madrid?
So usually they take place in Berlin. They are more or less like 8 to 10 times a year, so not every month, but almost. It's always open to everybody. You don't have to pay, you just come. And the idea is that we exchange knowledge. You actually get to know each other, so that's why there's always an interactive element where people are forced to work together with other people. And we always do it in a different location so that the service design community moves around in Berlin and sees different offices and so on. And I'm meeting with the co-founders over there. I have only a few minutes left with them, so I have to go.
We're going to let you go.
Thank you for
taking the time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to hear the podcast.
Yes.
So where can I hear the podcast?
On servicedesignpodcast.com.
All right. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Hello. Hi, Esben.
Hi, Esben.
Good to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Hi.
Now we can actually see you.
Yes, exactly. Big change.
So we're meeting Esben here, and we actually interviewed him a while ago for the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's great to see him real life.
Yeah. Between Skype.
Yeah.
It was interesting yesterday to hear also that the Japan chapter is doing really well. It won some awards for best event, I think, that sort of stuff. Are you involved in any way with the chapter, or do you visit any of the events?
Yeah, so I think we are in. I'm part of a local chapter over there. So the Tokyo chapter is maybe the most active, and we just started our Western Japan chapter, and I think they're very engaged in trying to create a community over there. It's really good.
Okay, that's great to hear. So did you already hear some interesting talks today?
Yeah, I definitely think the talks today with Louise Down, it was a great start, really kicked off the conference very well, I think. And then I just had a good workshop with Design It on warming up exercises. So it's something that I can bring back, definitely.
Was it you that we were hearing throughout the whole building, that workshop?
I believe so. Yeah, it got quite quite energetic.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What did you do?
So, just engagement exercises to, get to know each other, get to break down some barriers in terms of working together. There was something about making a story together, making paper planes. So the power of play, basically.
That sounds good. All right. So, and what are you looking forward to in the next few days?
The next few days, I am looking forward to... I must admit I haven't checked the program, but I look forward to just getting to meet more people and just being at lunch here, meeting old friends, meeting new friends is basically a big part of the conference for me.
Okay, great.
Right.
I think that will work out perfectly
I
here.
hope so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, we saw your talk this morning. Could you maybe introduce yourself briefly and tell the people what the talk was about?
Yes, I'm Mikko Koivisto from Hellon. I work there as a lead service designer and a customer experience director. So my talk was about how service design became so huge thing in Finland.
Yeah, it was very inspiring for us to see the talk. I think it was great insights you gave.
Thank you, very nice to hear.
Okay. So what are things you were talking at the end about 4 key learnings? Could you maybe introduce them also to the listeners so they know what it was about?
Yes, if in your country service design is not that familiar yet, so first thing you should do is raise awareness, and this means giving talks, publishing books, and stuff like that. And also you should start educating service designers. It's important to educate people that might not work as a service designers, but they know about the topic, so they can buy service design or promote it further. And also organizations, when they want to adapt service design, it's not an easy task because there's an existing culture and ways of doing so. Organization should be helped within this transformation process.
Yeah, it really fits the topic of the conference well, I think. Scaling service design. To be able to achieve that, we really need to embed service design in organizations and make sure that they can also carry out some of the mindsets we're using, techniques we're using.
That's true.
Yeah.
And also the final thing I mentioned was that showing the impact. So measuring your impact and results, it's very important.
Yes. One topic that I hear coming back now and then is that sometimes people say you shouldn't use the term service design to sell service design because people don't know it, and that makes it hard. But it seems like in Finland's case, you've made everybody used to the term service design, and you still use the word to sell it.
Yeah, in Finland it's quite widely understood. So service design term is used even we are not designing a service, so it might be a strategy or something else, but still it's called as service design.
Yeah. And how important is the role of government in the adoption of service design in Finland?
I think it has been crucial because there has been several programs that have been they have promoted the use of service design. both in public and private sectors, and also for like all the everyday like citizens. Like nowadays in Finland, like all the people know that design is not anymore just designing products. It's also designing services and experiences.
That's great that you even like changed the term design already for the wider public to something much broader than just making things beautiful.
Yeah, and you can see the results. Like I think there's so many Finns here at the conference.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like 20, 30 people or more even.
I think even more.
Yeah. That's good to see. Do you have a chapter in Finland as well, service design chapter?
Yes, we have a Finnish chapter, and we are actually starting to plan now a national conference for next spring.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, thanks for having a little chat with us, and we encourage our listeners to seek you out online, your presentation, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
So, you just said you're a student. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Christian Scully. I just started my studies at Aalborg University. It's called Service Systems Design, and this is my first semester, and I'm already embedded in a first semester project. So this is my first service design network function. So it's really exciting for me.
Yeah, and what kind of courses did you already have?
Well, we just, we have programming, we have UX, we have designing product systems. So for this semester, it's fairly straightforward, I think. Next semester, I know we have something with Arduino. I'm not quite sure the rest, but we're quite busy. And today, my colleague presented our app. I wasn't able to be there, but I did a little bit of work here, and so got feedback. So, but the deal was that I'll come here and do my own reporting, and then present what happens here, and then I could go without getting in trouble.
Right. One of our colleagues, Maria, she also studied in Aalborg, so
okay.
we know about it a bit.
Small world.
Yeah. I can see you haven't just dropped fresh out of high school.
No,
what's your background? How did you get into studying this?
Well, it was kind of there was a lot of pauses, breaks, and stops and starts. And the reason why I was interested in service design because it was introduced to me in my bachelor course, which I started 2 years ago. And then I was completely hooked, and I became a member of Service Design Network. And I was really passionate about getting in. And I've tried to be involved in service design projects ever since, but it was by a pure accident, actually. So I was really lucky to get in this summer to Aalborg University, and I'm really happy.
That's great. And what are you hoping to achieve? Where do you want to end up in a few years' time?
I'm not quite sure, but I'm really interested in the new technologies, AI, and also using VR and AR for prototyping. I have a background within the travel industry, specifically transportation, airlines, so maybe I'll go that way.
All right.
That's a good match as well. And did you already see some interesting talks or speakers?
Yes, something that was related to our semester project with is mental health. That was very, very useful, and I have to find the people who gave the talks to get some more information out of them. But it was, it was interesting to see what tools and methods that they had used to obtain the information. That was very insightful. Yeah. But I feel that from what they were telling us, my semester group is on the right track, so I was confident.
That's great to hear. And anything else you're looking forward to?
I'm meeting more people. I've met people from all the world, around the world, like China, Japan, India. I'm really surprised, and people are very approachable. So it's been a very positive experience so far.
All right, well, great. Wish you all the best with your studies and your future as a service designer. And see you around.
Take care.
Thank you. Hello, could we ask you some questions?
Hi, could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Claudia. I'm from Mexico City.
All right.
Nice.
And what do you do? What brought you to the Service Design Conference? Oh no, I'm not looking. I'm looking at your label.
I'm looking at this cake on myself. I work in BBVA Bancomer, which is the bank in Mexico City from BBVA. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, and what do you do there?
I am associate director of service design, so I lead the service design team there.
Okay, great. And I saw you were walking around in the exhibition of the service design finalists.
Exactly, yeah. I was reading the projects on detail, so I would less because we didn't have the option to hear to them completely. So I just wanted to know more detail.
Okay, and what did you think of the winners?
I think everybody got so astonished with the girl from Service with double Z in the government of Malta. So I was saying her project and actually which are the deliverables. Like, okay, it's a toolkit, but in what subject? I mean, there are many departments on the city, so I really wanted to see what was the size of the deliverable, and it's very, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you been able to meet up with some of your Spanish colleagues while you're here in Madrid?
Exactly. Yeah, we arrived on Sunday and Monday, so we worked together Monday, Tuesday, and a part of Wednesday. And now we are here together, and it's been great, like seeing them because we don't have that opportunity so much. Yeah.
And what is something that stood out for you so far? Something you remembered from the conference, a talk or a workshop, something general?
I can completely see the American and the European way of thinking. And we come it's a neighbor from US, so we're pretty much in touch with the businessy, more impact, business talking on hard, concrete numbers stuff. And here is more like social and human, so you can really, really see the focus on the business side and the the social. More the social human part over here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting remark. And I also think that reflects often in their businesses and how they do things. So it's actually a logical division.
Have you seen like IBM and the Uber girl? And then yesterday in the guy from the 10 Types of Innovation, like all Americans, they are really, really tough on that. So I know it notices. And that's something cultural, great to identify. Yeah.
Right, that's great. It's indeed good to see all the cultural differences in general, with so many nationalities here. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Clara. Hi. We ran into you last night at the Berlin Service Design Drinks. Mm-hmm. They were having a party. Mm-hmm. How are you?
I'm very good.
Could you maybe introduce yourself for our listeners? We've just caught you right on our podcast.
Yes, sure. So my name is Clara. I'm based in Berlin. One head of mine is doing in-house service design in a company that is selling solar systems in East Africa. And then another head of mine is doing his PhD research on service design in the Global South. And then I'm a freelance supporter of other organizations.
And yesterday you actually explained your new title to us. Can you also explain it to the listeners?
Sure, yes. So when I was creating my new business cards, I was a bit unsure what to put as title. Am I a service designer, just designer, engineer, design thinker? I didn't really know. And so in the end, I put on private investigator. So I'm doing investigative services for individuals and organizations.
Yeah, because that was a definition you found about private investigator, right?
Yes, and it's on Wikipedia, so it must be true.
Great.
Oh, and you're also giving a workshop, I understand, at the conference. What workshop is that?
Yeah, so tomorrow I have a workshop on my topic, which is service design in the Global South. And I'm basically trying to understand who is interested in that and who wants to build a community for that with me. So I'm really excited to find out who's actually interested in this. And then we'll talk a bit about best practices and pitfalls in this whole sphere and what are certain design constraints or enablers that I've come across in my work so that people maybe don't have to find that out for themselves.
Okay, sounds great. And are there other things you really want to go to during the conference, events or specific talks you're looking forward to?
I've just been to one that was really interesting about diplomats, design diplomacy. I think you were also in that one, right?
Yes.
And what I really liked about it is that I realized that in many cases designers don't maybe go all the way towards implementation because they are a bit conflict adverse and they just want to do their thing and don't fight with the CEOs about what's right and wrong. That's perfectly fine. I think it's a trait for a lot of designers. And now this is a new hint for how maybe with a bit more of diplomacy and learning from great diplomats who solve conflicts, we can also lean in and go more towards implementation of projects.
Yeah, I also remembered that thing about conflicts. Like as service designers, we kind of want to please everyone in our workshops and we want to make everyone happy. Mm-hmm. But what they said was that you really sometimes have to look for the conflicts and even focus on them to solve them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's definitely something that we will also take in consideration in our projects and make sure that we do that more and we don't just be all about happy and good work, but also tackle the tough problems.
And also what is very cool about their toolkit is that all of us designers now, we are looking more towards system design and doing that, but we don't really have the right approaches yet to work on that, I feel. So for example, myself, I'm doing a MOOC on systems thinking at the moment because I'm looking for ways to actually deal with these systems. And this was for the first time something to put my hands on where I can say, okay, that's how I can incorporate other stakeholders into the design of a service. So that was really cool.
Well, that's great to hear that you found some new methods here for things you didn't know how to do before. Okay, have a nice time on the conference.
Yeah, enjoy yourself very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye. Hello.
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 Can we ask you some questions on the podcast?
Sure, of course.
So can you introduce yourself? Who are you and what are you doing in your daily life?
Well, I'm Daniel. I come from Russia and live there and work there as a service designer. So this is the thing that brought me here to the service design conference and to the whole sphere. So that's me.
Yeah, great. And did you already had some interesting talks or workshops today at the conference?
Yeah, sure. And an interesting workshop is starting right now. I missed the registration moment, so I'm trying to attend it anyway. Just for I don't know how, but I think I will manage that.
Yeah, you can wait on the next to the door, and they will. If there's place.
Knock to the door, please let me in. Something like that. Yeah, this is the thing. Well,
okay.
Okay, well, so we won't keep you too long from getting to your place. I'd like to just ask one question about service design in Russia. Are there any particular challenges for a service designer working in Russia?
I think the first thing is to explain actually the world what is service design, because people do not still think that way and approach that way their businesses not in human-centered way. So this is maybe the biggest challenge for me to try to make them feel and the value of a human-centered approach.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what I'm going to do.
That sounds great. Are there any other of your colleagues from Russia here? I didn't hear of any other people from Russia.
There are three of us who I met, and actually, the guy from Digitalist. I found out that he was born in Russia, so he can speak remember the language a bit. Now living in in Finland. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. Thank you for your for the conversation and enjoy the conference today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we just bumped into Eloise, and we actually have been hearing a lot about her, like through email. We've been mailing each other. We've been talking to each other, and was very excited for us to meet her at the conference for the first time. Hi, Eloise. Could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hello, listeners of the Service Design Podcast. I'm Eloise Smith-Foster, and I work at the Service Design Network headquarters in Cologne. And I am chapter manager there, so I do a lot of work supporting new and building chapters. For example, SDN Belgium that just opened and are doing really well. Great to hear about that in Stina's talk. And I also do member relations and service design internally at SDN, and support with Service Design Day and the Service Design Award.
Okay.
Lovely to be on the show.
And how have you experienced the conference so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting seeing everything come together, that it's taken months of work and planning and connecting with people from Cologne to Spain. So to be here and see how excited everyone is, and see that the speakers are having a really good experience and able to share all the great work they're doing. I'm really happy to be empowering people and a part of that. And I've just met so many interesting people. I really enjoyed the Service Design Award, seeing the winners present and hearing more about their projects, because I've been reading about those, and I think the impact they're having is really, really fascinating. And just a great benchmark for everyone to kind of learn from and see what's possible. And yeah, just hearing a lot more about what's happening in the public sector, from Snook, for example, and hearing from Kat Drew and Louise Down. Yeah, that's something I'm really, really interested in. So, yeah.
Speaking of the awards, there's some great projects that won awards, but there's also great projects that were nominated. How do you go about getting the choice for the winners? That must be very hard.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment too much because I'm not a member of the jury, so I don't select the work. But I know that it's a very challenging and rigorous process, because there is so much amazing work that's entered from all around the world, from the private, the public sector, and students. And I think in particular this year, it was very difficult choosing between the students, because the standard of work is so high. And I think that's a great sign for service design, that the student work is actually almost on a par, or as good as, or even better as the professional work. So that's great that, more mature service designers can also be learning lessons from this fresh thinking from people who know these processes inside out, just from doing it on their studies, and also are really reaching into the private sector and getting outside the university and making impact. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, we were also quite impressed by the presentation for the student project Service Design. That was the whole story, the whole way she presented was very professional indeed.
Yes, yeah, very well practiced. And two great topics for the students. She was looking at the government of Malta, and I think service design was really new for them. So for her to just step in and introduce that to them and go on that journey with them from the inside, I mean, it's really amazing. And also Kulain, Shreya and Jayun, the other student team, they were looking at the taxi service and reducing pollution and saving costs in London. And I think that's a really pressing issue, because in terms of pollution and sustainability, I think it's really important that designers move more towards these environmental issues and systemic issues, and find ways to tackle that. So really, really interesting to hear what's going on.
Okay. Do you have a personal highlight of the conference, something you will remember next year?
Oh, okay, that's a tough one. I think I really enjoyed the awards ceremony, just the feeling of celebration and people realizing that they've done something amazing, and it's good to take a moment to appreciate that, because we don't always step back and look at, okay, I've got a long way to go, but actually I've achieved so much. So yeah, really good to see the energy and the surprise of people who have done great work, but realizing, okay, this is acknowledged and we can share that. So.
Yeah, I think the value of the Service Design Awards is super important as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also enjoyed seeing the Belgian chapter photo. The chapters are very close to my heart, so great to see the energy in this crowded room in Night Moves of the new members.
Yeah, it was for us also a really important moment, and it was super amazing to see how many people in Belgium already showed up to this first event. So I think it's a great initiative, the chapters, and we are also very happy that we can be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's amazing that they're all run by volunteers as well, and people are so passionate. So yeah, really great.
Okay, thanks a lot for the conversation, and also thanks a lot for organizing the conference and everything else within the Service Design Network. We appreciate it a lot, and I think a lot of other people also do. Thank you.
Great, thanks for talking to me and for your talk today. Really, really great to speak with you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, hello. We met you last night at the Berlin Service Design Drinks.
Yes.
Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm based in Barcelona. I'm becoming a service designer for the public sector, or I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to work for public sector?
It's in Spain, the service design within the public sector is, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think there is a lot of things to do to embrace it. There is few local governments that are changing, that are transforming, and I think the digital part is really important. For example, in Madrid you have the open data, as well in Barcelona, the participatory budget, like many initiatives. But from my point of view, it's been difficult from coming from outside to really know what's going on in terms of service design.
Yeah. And you said you're becoming a service designer, or yes. What were you doing before?
I used to work in international development. I worked for UN for a few years in Panama and Geneva. And then I moved to Cambodia to bring new approaches to development, so more focus on the private sector, social enterprises, and of course innovation, how it can work and build more sustainable programs and initiatives, looking to another thing. So I'm doing development is also changing, so I'm changing with it, and it makes sense for me to come back to Europe for different reasons and apply a model that I really, and a mindset that I really like and love, which is the design and methodology of design, and apply it to something that I can do, which is work with government. So yeah. that's.
And do you think you might go full circle one day and also bring service design back to the developmental work?
Absolutely. I think there is a huge potential, a need, and I think institutions like UN are already doing it, so I will, of course, that will be great to know.
That's very interesting. Anything you're looking forward to in these days?
I'm open to everything, so I'm enjoying very much the talks. I'm meeting really nice people. Yesterday the service design drinks were really, really good to meet people, so yeah, open to be here and enjoy it.
All right, that's great. Well, enjoy the rest of the conference and see you around.
Thank you very much. I have to say that I listen to your podcast.
That's nice to hear.
Nice to hear.
Hello.
So we just bumped into What's your name?
It's Hilton.
Hilton. That's a
Yes.
special name.
It's special. I don't know. It's,
It's quite known, I guess, from the hotels.
yeah, because of the hotels in Paris.
Yeah, Paris.
I think more because of Paris than the hotel. Yeah.
Okay.
Paris Hilton.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners? Who are you and why are you here at the conference?
Okay, so this is my name. I'm from Brazil. I have a service design agency in Brazil. I founded last 3 years ago at least. And service design in Brazil is doing really great. People get more awareness about what service design is for. Actually, I say that we don't sell service design. We sell experience. We sell reducing cost of process. You sell increase your revenue.
Yeah.
You just have to sell it. But it's service design indeed, and really in the methodology.
Yeah, I think it's a good point you make. Like you're selling the advantages of service design.
Because if you just say service design, people be like, what? Design? But design is services. So
Yeah.
you have to explain a lot.
Okay.
That's it.
And are public services also being designed with service design in Brazil? Does the public sector make use of it, the government?
Not yet. Actually, there is an agency, NGO, that's doing a great job. It's called TELUS. Their purpose is to implement service design in public sector. So they're being trying to do it, and they're doing it with kind of success now. And hopefully, in years coming, there will be more public services designed by service designers.
Right.
So then you probably also heard the talk of Louise Down.
Louise out from Liverpool.
From Gov UK. The first speaker we had this morning, she was talking about how in the UK they're actually also implementing like service design in government. Do you recognize some things that what is happening in Brazil, or is it like a totally different landscape now?
Actually, UK it's been doing this for quite a while now. Last year at the conference, I've seen them telling about it. It's pretty much the same, I think. Yeah, I think we have to have this kind of instead of waiting for the government or public services to look for service design, we do all the contrary.
Yeah.
We start founding NGO agencies and try to show them that it's possible in a way that they implement it as a rule instead of just doing the same way that they've done.
Yeah,
the
it's
last
important to give some cases and indeed like show the impact to make sure that they know they want it or it can advance them. Okay.
Exactly.
Are there other talks or workshops you did today that you enjoyed?
Yes, actually, I did this workshop. Let's go of the awkwardness. It was really amazing because it's full of activities to just break the ice, and a lot of good lessons how to do it during the workshops, and it was really nice.
Cool.
All right. Nice to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Hi. Would you like to join us for a short interview?
Yeah, why not? I'm Ravi Mahamuni from Tata
Okay.
Consultancy Services.
Yes, I know that as the Tata as the company that makes everything.
Yeah. Yes.
So we weren't holding the mic when you just introduced yourself. Could you say again for our listeners who you are?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ravi Mahamuni. I am a senior scientist at Tata Research Design and Development Center, Pune, which is a research division of Tata Consultancy Services.
Okay, and you're here at the Service Design Conference. What do you think about the conference so far?
So it's good. This is my first service design conference. I'm really excited to see that service design is really becoming popular. And in India, it's just starting. It's in the nascent stage. And at TCS, we have also realized the power of service design, that instead of solving point problem, we need to look at holistically. And at TCS, I'm heading the design research, where we are looking at how the service design can help for any IT industry to move up in a value chain. And while doing that, if you look at the India, there are a lot of social problems. And then if we want to get into the developing countries like India, how we can design the services. And it's not also only about designing the services, but generally it's been now understood that designers are in the business of behavioral change. So if we want to do a service design for a behavioral change, whether the current service design practices, tools and techniques, are they adequate? So I am doing my PhD in this area where I am trying to see that how we can have a service design for a behavioral change and behavioral that is ethically right and in a positive way. Just to give one example, like in India, if we want people to follow traffic signal, okay, that is not just the technological solution. We have to do a behavioral change so that the people can follow the traffic signal. And we don't want people to follow one time when there is a campaign going on that traffic. So how we can have a sustained behavioral change? So if we want to bring a sustained behavioral change, how the service design can help? My hypothesis is that service design can help, but we need to prove that with certain case studies and see that how we can use the current service design practices, or if we need to be adopted along with the behavioral models and the psychology and sociology models to do that. So currently we are working on that, and I think it will be good.
That sounds like a very interesting case. Have you actually met already some of your colleagues from India here? Are there other people, or are you the only one?
So I just met 2 people, but they have not come from India. They have come from US and like that. So currently for this conference, I am the only person, as per my knowledge, who has come for this conference from India. And I hope that I will spread this message in India, in my colleagues and all, that this is a really good conference and we should come and attend next time.
Next year you will bring like 20 people along with you.
I hope so, and maybe most of them as part of my team.
That would be good.
Thank you.
Sometimes when talking about services and very complex analog services, an Indian example often comes up. The lunch delivery system in Mumbai.
Mumbai, Dabba,
yes.
Dabba wala system.
Do you ever think about that in a service design context?
Yeah. So it shows that the service design is not new. Okay, so services are around us. Only we need to look for it. But only thing is that there are very few such examples. If we really want to productionize the services, I think we need a tools, techniques and the designer to look at it. Otherwise services are there. But only now we have to see that how the cultural aspects play. And now we are saying is that the human is at the center of it. How we can do that. And then how the consumer and the provider, because it needs to be win-win situation for both. How we can do that. And that's the challenge actually. And another thing I really liked, the theme of this conference is the service design at scale. And that's actually motivated to come here. Because currently what we are doing at TCS is that we are designing a services for us, for employees. The idea here is that once the employees start realizing the benefit of service design, I think they will be motivated to talk to our customers and convince them to do that. So currently we are looking at the inside out approach for a service design implementation. So currently I am doing it for a 2-3 HR services. Like for example, we have a service called as Bring Your Buddy. So you can refer your friends to join TCS. So currently we have worked on that. Also we are working on the service as is like employee onboarding service. So when the people join TCS, how we can make their experience as a memorable experience and how they can get assimilated in the team in a shorter period of time.
Okay.
I think that sounds very interesting, and I think you should apply next year for a talk to talk about your experiences in India so people can hear about this.
So as part of my PhD, I am also conducting survey and collecting some data about the service design and the behavior and from the global designers. So I have approached a lot of people. I think I will also request you also to fill my survey and also circulate in it. And at the end of this, I have promised all the participants that I will share back all the results, all the insights I am getting. Because I think in the conference also we have heard that sharing that's how we can grow our service design community. There is no point in just keeping those things with you, and I will be very happy to share the survey results with everybody, whatever I am getting.
And when are you gathering these results? Is it?
So it's a process. Okay. Actually, I have started collecting from this conference. So I will do for next 1 or 2 months, and at the end of that, I will come up with the white paper or research paper, which I will share insights, because I'm doing some conducting interviews also. So qualitative, quantitative.
Okay.
I have already done this type of thing in India. But the focus was different, where we want to understand what the people understand as a service design. Because whomever you talk, they say, I know it. But in what depth they understand. Correct? So those type of things I have done. I have completed that. Now I am doing at the global design level. And I thought this is the golden opportunity to connect with a global designer community and get their insights.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, actually, you can send us the link of the survey, and we will share it with the episode, so people will find it online. Thank you so much.
It will be great help for my PhD also. I think I am might be the very few in India to do a PhD in a service design,
yes.
And especially focusing on a behavioral change. And I hope that I will come up with some actionable guidance or actionable something where it will be useful for a practitioner community.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for your time.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we see a familiar face.
Yes, indeed, a familiar face. Hello.
Good afternoon, friends.
So, Ivo, are you working here at the conference?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm working a little bit. There's a project with Korea, South Korea, that we're doing on product service system design. So they're asking for a little bit more inputs. And since I am boosting the toolkit, I'm also boosting my concepts and ideas. And so we hope on a nice collaboration between our both countries, which are actually quite similar in problems of finding the right solution to service or product. And a better experience, of course.
Great. So we're talking to Ivo, and maybe some of you already know him because we founded the chapter together, and Ivo is also a Belgian. Shall I call you service designer or a service design researcher, or how would you subscribe your title?
I would add the product, of course, so the product service, and maybe a little bit of system designer, but that's me.
And could you tell our audience where do you work? What do you do exactly?
Oh yeah, so I work at the University of Antwerp. We have the Faculty of Design Sciences, which is actually a kind of unique place to be in. We have architecture, interior, and of course product development. But it's no longer product development anymore since recently. And at product development, I do my PhD research, and I do some teaching and some master thesis consulting. And it's kind of amazing work and amazing to work there. Mm-hmm. It's I wouldn't do anything more rather than that.
Oh, that sounds good. And what do you hope to achieve there? For service design?
Well, I hope, since no product goes without the service or no service goes without the product, the ultimate aim is to provide the best experience or meaningful design an end user might have. And that's my aim. And probably business will be added, and we hope to have a good morale and sustainability. But I hope we can give our students that input to be a better designer. And that's why services had so big deal of input. It was a demarcation, a real milestone for service design to be and grow like this into a large field. With so much interest, so yes, of course, we need them.
Yeah, we need the students to also be updated about service design and feel why it's important to take these methods.
True, I think in Belgium, maybe there's too little emphasis at this point, and I think it's a really growing field. Every business is going into it, but we also have to have the students to tap into from the businesses into the knowledge. And if we train them right, we can have them on the front stage.
Yes, we'd be happy with that. We know it's really hard to find good service designers who speak the language, who know our context in Belgium. So we're looking forward to lots of great students coming from there.
I hope to deliver them as soon as I can.
Great. Is there anything you are looking forward to at the conference? Something you really want to see, or a workshop you really want to follow?
I am being in the afternoon tomorrow on the service systems. I'm in that part. I really want to see how that works to maybe add to my own research. On the other hand, I think the visualizing workshops would be a great thing to, if you're able to follow, and those who registered, great thing. I think for service design, we should maybe include scenario writing or maybe a choreography course or something else to understand that we have to tap into every touch point possible in a journey that maybe embarks us on 10 years. If we design the new service or the system, it's not just one touch point. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you very much for the conversation and enjoy the conference. Bye.
We will, thank you.
Bye. Hey, we just ran into our intern Paria here. Hey, Paria, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Is it real?
Of course it's
Don't
real,
be
Paria.
shy.
No, I'm not shy.
Who are you?
My name is Paria. I am intern in Night Moves company. I'm a master student in Aalborg University in Copenhagen. And yes, and I'm here as a volunteer.
Okay, and what does it mean being a volunteer here at the conference?
It means that actually I should help people who come here to, if they have any questions or if they're looking for something, so I'm gonna provide what they're looking for. And also I can participate in workshop and also presentation, which is a really good opportunity for me.
Okay.
So how many volunteers are there?
In total, as far as I know, there is 30 volunteers. Yeah.
Okay.
From different parts of the world.
Yeah, and which part of the world are you from?
I'm originally from Iran, Persia.
Okay, and how is service design in Iran?
Nowadays, many people in Iran become curious to know more about service design. We have service design network also in Iran. So it is something new, but people become more curious to know more, yeah.
What are your personal interests in service design? What kind of topics excite you?
One of the topics that I really like to know more about it is prototyping. And also there was a topic here, but unfortunately I couldn't participate on it because I have passed on the other workshop, was about visualization of service design. And yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to people who are considering being a volunteer in the next edition of the conference?
I think it's quite interesting, especially it's good for networking. You see many professionals here and also seeing different projects and examples. So it helped me a lot to know more about my future career.
Okay.
And are you going to volunteer again, do you think?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Paria.
Nice.
We'll
Thank
see you around, of course.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hello. Who are you?
My name is Roy. From the Netherlands. I work at the Essence Service Design Agency. What else would you like to know?
What brings you to the conference while you're a service designer?
Yes. Well, one thing is we got nominated for the client award. So that was one. But
With what project are you nominated for?
For the Schiphol project. So maybe you have seen it or you haven't seen it.
Can you explain a little bit about the project?
Sure. We started off with a briefing of designing a commercial vision for them. And I think sort of the themes which is really returning here is that they're really thinking in silos. So at Schiphol you have a parking, you have a plaza which is in front of security, and See-by-Fly which is after it. And they didn't really think of combining everything. And I think what was really nice in the project is that we invited them in a co-creation sessions with travelers as well. which was for them very confronting to hear certain things, and that they thought like, yeah, and why do I have this ticket for my parking, and then I have to put it somewhere, and then and later I get a ticket at See by Fly for a voucher, and then later I get at Plaza, and then a lot of people were very confused, and it was for them very confronting to hear, I think. And to make a very long story short, is that I think in the end they were really thinking more on horizontal service solutions. They were really thinking, how can things enhance each other? An example here is that people worry a lot about having groceries when they are back from travels, like, I have to get this and this and this. And they were thinking, well, maybe we could even offer this at when you're waiting for your luggage, which is actually See by Fly. Groceries are provided by Plaza. They were like, all right, we can combine this. And the parking said like, well, we offer this valet parking, when for us it's a super cool premium service where they park your car. It's like, why don't we actually already put your groceries in there? So when you would book your ticket, you can already, and it's even complemented to our premium services. So that's just an example where I think that's really nice that they were thinking more in the direction we were.
So you really thought of the whole journey from people leaving from home and
so we only focused on Dutch leisure travelers, because otherwise it would be too big. Also you have then transferring, and of course all international travelers. Just for a bit of scope, we really focus on Dutch leisure travelers. Also because they are open to very lot of different things. So for example, Facebook Messenger as a communication tool. And then was also a perception for the Schiphol, like, yeah, well, we have our app. Why not use the app? Well, when you talk to people, like, why would I download the Schiphol app? I fly with KLM. So those are like funny things that I think this start group was really open for. And indeed, we looked at from departure to arrival again. So,
well, sounds great. I hope you win something tonight.
Thank you.
All the best for the competition. We'll see.
Yeah. Is there anything else you're looking forward to at the conference?
Yeah, I really liked the workshops so far. Was just one when there was more about dealing with. I think you were also in the same one with the whole. Diplomatics of
yeah, that's right, we were there. That was very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's something I deal with a lot with as well. So we work also for bigger corporates, and Schiphol is one example of it. But there's so much political things going on, and it's always very, very hard to get all faces in the same directions, I guess. And I did give me really some handles I think I could work with to really get that in my lines, and really also find your role as service designer when in these bigger operations.
Yeah, I would fully agree. I think it also gave us the templates that they gave us. I think it's very useful.
Also, just a big compliment to. I think it was very well presented, and like the handhold makes it so much nicer. And I think one of the biggest advantages of it as a service designer is making things digestible and also for us as service designers, because I mean it's 1.5 hours. Let's be realistic; it's not a lot, and you have to take in a lot. But I think they managed very well in structuring this, and really providing you with enough insight that you think like this I can do something with, and this I can take to my projects and back home.
Here.
Okay, thanks a lot, and enjoy the conference.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Service Design Podcast was brought to you by the Service Design Network and Night Moves. For more information, previous episodes, or to join the conversation, please visit servicedesignpodcast.com. For more information about the Service Design Network, visit service-design-network.org, and for Night Moves, visit nightmoves.be. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to this podcast. The intro and outro music is from If the Stars Grow Dim Tonight by Hydrogen Sea featuring I Will, I Swear. Until next time.